this up a little bit because I want to actually highlight some content here and a couple things that are brand new, probably since the last time I've been on a webinar. And that is we've introduced our QA workflow tools, right? So we now have track changes. If I were to turn those on, it works. There's nothing cosmic about this. It works like you would expect it to. If you've ever used Microsoft Word, I've got a track change in here. I can either accept or reject it. If I accept it, great. It goes away and the replacement happens. We've also added commenting capability, and you can comment on anything that exists inside your rich text, or even just on the titles themselves, right? I can say I want to throw a title, and instead of calling this introduction, we'll call this, the starting words, or whatever we might want to comment, right? And one thing I'll note, make sure that you save this. This works just like comments in Google Docs. You want to save that to make it persistent. And then obviously you can always get rid of that when you don't want it. Yeah, I really don't want that comment there, and we're gone. Now, one thing you'll notice that's also interesting about about the language that I brought in is we've got these odd looking ducks here. And this is fairly new as well. We brought this out in December, I think. And this is shortcodes, right? But it's not just built-in shortcodes. It's the ability to define your own shortcodes. And what am I talking about? So in PlexTrac, at the report level, right? So if we go to the report details here, I assign that template I was using. We have these ability to template out and bring in report level custom fields. These are those like pieces of metadata. What's the version, right? What's the application name? Hey, why not? Let's call this the PlexTrac app. Who's the lead tester? It's always Nick Saban. He's the leader of everything in my book. Sorry, Alabama fan. Who's your client and your project lead? Things like that. And these values here can be mapped to shortcodes that you define. And where does this functionality live? Well, if I go up to my account administration, you've got this new functionality called shortcodes, right? You click on here, you've got the ability of defining your own shortcode. So for example, I said for the string short application name, rules on this, by the way, 2% on the front, 2% on the back, single string in between, no special characters, doesn't have to be capitalized or anything. But then I can define where do I want to draw the replacement data from. I would say the report custom fields is the most common. You can also do it to client custom fields if you had those available to you as well. And then what is the associated label of that field, right? So if we go back to the report that we were just in, and we take a look at the report template that we brought in, I made sure that I populated it with the labels that I need to enable these shortcodes. Put it all together, and here's where the magic happens, right? I purposely left one of these blank, but I'm going to go up to search and replace, and I'm going to replace my shortcodes. And when I do that, you will note, and I probably forgot to mention that I've got a couple built-in shortcodes here as well. I also probably should have picked a smaller data set as well, because it is a global action, right? So what you see that happened here is for our application name, we replaced that with PlexTrac. Now you'll notice that we did not replace client lead. That just was left as it was. And the reason why, it's the same thing here with the report start date. That's one of our built-in shortcodes, actually. If there's no data associated, we're not just going to take these shortcodes out and leave them blank. We want you to have an opportunity to go and add the data. So if you come back over to your details, and I was now to give it a project lead, and we'll say that that's Bear Bryant, we'll say that. And maybe we'll also fill in the rest of those. We'll give it a start and an end date, right? Because we got 3 built-in shortcodes in PlexTrac: start date, end date, and client name. Save all that. And now I go back to my readout view and replace those one more time. You will see that they now have data and they can be replaced. So tremendous time savings. And one thing I want to...
This is just, I got to just interrupt here, because I had, one of my last places, I had 60 different report templates. And every single one of them had brackets in red with client name, start date, FFIEC versus PCI, whatever. So, I mean, this is a huge time saver. Right from the get-go, I no longer have to make sure, even during the QA process, making sure that they went through and they put in all of them. So this is fantastic.
Yeah, it's definitely been probably one of the more popular features. I think everyone that I have shown this to has implemented it immediately.